Hi, I'm Terry Murphy from Realty Times, Women in Business, Women in Real Estate, and in the Men's Room with Murph. But today you've got such a special occasion coming up. We have a woman in business who has literally taken herself from the ground up. I want you to meet Natasha Hazlett. Not only is she an inspirational speaker, she's an author, she's a mom of two adorable twins and a gorgeous little girl. She's a wife, and she is a leader, and her book, Unstoppable Influence, has literally changed thousands of lives. So if you've ever been there where you just can't even get up out of bed one day, you need to hear her story. Welcome, Natasha.
Thanks, Terry. So happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy for the people that are listening to be and listening and seeing you in real life, because there was a time that things didn't go perfectly. And yet with a mindset and a change, you wrote the book, Unstoppable Influence. And from that, there has been so much unstoppable influence because of what you've been able to do in the minds of people to find themselves, find their purpose, and be fearless. Would you tell us a little bit about how you started and then what happened when you wrote this book that it became a real, living, breathing, vibrant community?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to come and spend time with you and with your audience. And, like I said, there was a time when I didn't feel very unstoppable. I had graduated from law school. I started practicing law, and I realized about a year and a half in that there was something more in life. And there was something more that I was supposed to do, but I just wasn't sure what that was. So I went through a little bit of a journey of self-discovery and started a business in 2010 with my boyfriend at the time, now husband. And things were going well. We had a successful business by most standards, but I still wasn't happy. And I had gone through an infertility journey that had really left me in a massive rut. And so one day in March of 2016, I found myself at rock bottom. I was 210 pounds on a 5'5" frame. So I was clinically obese. I looked at my husband and I said, I'm ready to go back to the full-time practice of law. I don't want to be in business anymore. I don't want to inspire anyone. I'm done. And so it was serious, because this was something that my husband Rich and I had been working on for years. And 6 years later, 6 years in, I was ready to totally give up. And I think that this is something that a lot of people go through, that you go on this path, this journey of what you think is going to make you happy. And then one day you wake up and you think, is there something more? Is there something else? What is going on and what is wrong with me? And through basically going to an event on a wing and a prayer, I ended up having this amazing epiphany. And this epiphany was that for the first time in 30-something years, I wanted to love myself. And I had never thought about this before. In fact, what I really knew was that when I looked in the mirror, I hated the person staring back at me, despised her. All the physical flaws, all the things that I felt like I couldn't do well, that everyone was doing better than I was, it all came to a head in that moment. And I decided for the first time that I wanted to love myself again. So what did I do? I went on a journey. My eat, pray, love minus going to India and riding the elephants. And I got healthy. I lost 55 pounds in 5.5 months. And I started this journey of everything that Natasha 1.0 would say heck no to. Natasha 2.0 said heck yes. And so I started learning new things, new tools, ways to really love myself. And through that, I ended up writing my book, Unstoppable Influence. I felt this urge, this nudge on my heart that it was time to write a book. And so I did. And through writing that book, it ended up becoming very successful, an Amazon bestseller. And through that, I grew a tribe of like-minded women, women that knew that they were meant for something more. They just weren't sure what that was. Women who looked in the mirror and didn't like what they saw. Women that were wanting to fall in love with themselves again. They all started coming to me. And together we were able to build this amazing tribe, this amazing movement of unstoppable influencers who are committed to sharing their light in the world. So that's it in the super nutshell version.
Well, you know, you've been featured in Woman of the Year in the Idaho Business, a Rising Star by Superlawyers Magazine. You've been on ABC, NBC, and CBS, as well as Forbes.com. I mean, that's a pretty long way. No disrespect to anybody who's, you know, has just a single profession, being an attorney. Of course, it lets you know that you're pretty smart. But even that, even though, because I know your family and I know your husband's, by the way, her husband, adorable, and smart and has a job, even then you were so sad, you were so disappointed in yourself. And I think that especially with social media and women in particular, that comparing thing, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And it doesn't matter your age. What I like to profile about you is that as a young mom, as a professional, and transforming lives, being fearless, you had so much to overcome because that your own self-talk was so negative. So at some point, when you have these self-sabotaging beliefs, you really can't step out of your own way. So you've been able to transform lives. You've had Unstoppable Influence, the events. People love your swag because it helps to remind them of their own personal power. I would like to say to you, if you had advice for women today, besides reading the book, which I think is wonderful, and maybe joining you on Facebook, what would you tell them for that first step, that fragile, delicate first step out of the sinkhole? What would you tell them?
The first step is really, it's a simple one. It's to decide. It's to make a decision that you're ready to make a change. You're ready to step out and blossom. You're ready to step out and love yourself. This was the thing that was the big difference maker for me. It wasn't that I should, because we should all over ourselves a lot, right? And
Yes.
So really what we need to do is stop shoulding and we need to start deciding, because the word decide comes from the Latin word decidere, which means literally to cut off. Like you cut off all the other options. So when you make that powerful decision that it is time to step into your giftedness, when you decide it's time to step out for that new job, that new relationship, to love yourself, it all starts with that decision that no more. The past, we are stepping away from that and we're moving into a new era, a new chapter, a new page.
So I would say that in chapter 1, that is unstoppable influence. It starts with you. And then from that, you get to create life by design and not by default, because there's something that I think is here but not mentioned, and that is giving yourself the permission and the willingness to accept. Would you agree?
I would totally agree. You know, and it's releasing a lot of the approval addiction that we have. I fully admit that I'm Natasha Hazlett and I am a recovering approval addict. I truly was living my life for everyone else. In fact, Dr. Wayne Dyer was talking about this book, and you may have read it, and it was the top 5 regrets of the dying. And the number 1 regret of the dying, the number 1 of all the things that people that were interviewed in their last days over a course of many, many years, their number 1 regret was not living their life for themselves. That instead they were so focused on being the person that everyone else thought that they should be, instead of going within. That doesn't mean be selfish. What it means is going in and living life in accordance with your authentic self and what you are here to do, instead of what you think that everyone else thinks that you should be doing?
Well, Natasha, I would love for people to be able to reach you because the message is ubiquitous. Everybody, no matter who you are, and I've counseled two Miss Americas, no matter where you are, there's always that moment where you need the support and the self-talk that comes from a community like Unstoppable Influence. Because in the book, in chapter 4, you talk about how to become unstoppable. Everybody tells you what you should do, but they don't tell you how to do it. And if you don't know the first step, you really can't go forward. So tell them where more about you, where to get your book, and how to contact you.
So to learn more about Unstoppable Influence, to get the book, everything, just head over to unstoppableinfluence.com. That is the easiest way. You'll be able to get the book. It's available on Amazon. You can join one of our challenges. You can learn more about the Unstoppable Influence movement, unstoppableinfluence.com.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Terry Murphy with Women in Business. Join us for another episode with Natasha Hazlett and other powerful women that help you live your best life.